Alright, so we're going to move on to the section here of the 4.1 ladders where we talk about ladder maintenance, inspection, and cleaning. So first thing here, we're going to go over you guys' objectives. After this presentation, you should be able to identify the two NFPA standards that pertain to ladders. You should also know the general guidelines that I'm going to give you for the inspection process of portable ladders. We should also be able to know the procedure for maintenance and cleaning, which go hand in hand with inspection, and the differences we have with fiberglass and wood ladders if we ever come across them. So, as you guys are learning, firefighting is a very dirty, dangerous, harsh, rough job. A lot of the things that we use get really roughed up and most of the time destroyed, over time at least. So ladders are one of those, are not an exception to that. When we use ladders on fires, they can be exposed to high heat, which can degrade the material. They can be dropped, they can be get full of all the combustion that a fire has and get them all dirty, and the little mechanics of these ladders can be compromised, okay? So they must be clean, inspected, and of course maintained to try and prolong the life of these ladders. So the two NFPA standards that you guys need to be able to identify are NFPA 1931, and that's going to pertain to the standard for the manufacturer's design of the ground ladders, and then 1932, or excuse me, that's 1931 is the standard for manufacturer's design, and 1932 is the standard for use, maintenance, and service testing. So if you have trouble memorizing, just memorize one, the 1931, and then just add one, and then you know the number for the other NFPA standard. Alright, so the bulk of what we're going to be talking about is inspecting, cleaning, and documenting our ladders. Okay? So I'm going to give you some general guidelines when you're inspecting the components of the ladders, which you guys just went over. So when you're checking the halyard, you're going to be looking for any signs of fraying, kinking, or if the halyard is cut anywhere and the fibers are fraying, or if it's cut all the way. Obviously then you're going to have to take the ladder out of service, right? You're also going to want to make sure that the halyard operates to fly smoothly. On the rungs, when you're checking the rungs, you're going to want to ensure that none of them are bent. You're going to want to make sure none of them are loose, so you're going to want to grab a hold of them and give them a good jerk. Make sure that they're secure. Make sure that they're not cracked, or if there's any gouges to them. You're going to look over the ladder and look at all the rivets, the bolts, and all the plates. As you can see in this image here where the rung is attached to the beam, those rivets and that plate, you're going to make sure that all those are tight and secure. When you're inspecting the ladder and you're looking at the beams, you're going to want to make sure that they're straight. They're not bowing. There's no cracks on them. You're going to go through and grab the dogs and make sure that they properly lock the fly section, so you can use the halyard and check the dogs at the same time, right? Make sure that they're functioning properly, meaning the springs on the dogs, the spring works so that it locks. You're going to look at the feet of the ladder, and the things that you want to check for here are just make sure that they're secure and it's not loose where it could shear off. The pulleys, when you do the pulley check, you can do it simultaneously when you're doing the halyard check. So making sure that the pulley is rotating smoothly and that the halyard is going through it smoothly. Making sure that it's not loose on its bracket where it's attached to the ladder. Check the hooks. If this is a roof ladder, you're going to want to check the hooks, make sure that the springs operate properly, it engages and it locks in place. Making sure that the spike part of the roof hook is sharp so that it can actually have a bite into the roof. and that it's not dull. I know you mentioned the comment earlier on sheet metal roofs, so you're going to want to make sure that it's sharp so it can bite a hold of that roof really good. And if it is dull, we can easily maintain that, which we'll discuss later. When you're going through checking the beams, it's also a good time to look over the heat sensors. These little stickers, make sure that they're obviously in place and there, and that they are not showing that the ladder has been exposed to excessive heat. So the normal color is orange, correct?
That is good.
So if it's exposed to excessive heat, 500 degrees, what color does it change to?
Black.
Black, correct. Alright, moving on. And just one more thing to note here, when you're going through on all the components of the ladder, just look at the integrity of it. Are there any gouges, chips, dents, sharp edges? These things are not necessarily going to take it out of service, but a good gouge is something, or a sharp edge is something that can grab a hold of us and it can cut our gear, right? And we'll talk about the maintenance later on in this of how we can take care of that. So, now that you have done your inspection and you have found something that's saying, what are you going to do? You're going to have to remove the ladder out of service. We can't use it. If you find that one of the rungs is loose, two of the rungs are loose, you're going to have to take it out of service. And here at the North Star Volunteer Fire Department, your ladder maintenance staff member is Engineer Sanchez, so you have to report it to him, and then he will take it to the further steps of documenting it and making a decision of how we're going to fix it. So this is an important slide to note that minor repairs can be remedied in-house. So I mentioned the comment about a sharp edge. So let's say that the ladder was gouged by a piece of a structural building and it's got a good gouge and it's created a sharp edge. Usually that is something that we can maintain in-house, where we just get some sandpaper and smooth that out so it's no longer a sharp edge. But like it says here, that should be a trained firefighter who understands what he or she is doing. And any major defects of the ladder, though that is at the point in time when the ladder is going to be sent away to the manufacturer to be repaired. So two things that we do for service and testing is the annual, and anytime that a ladder is exposed to high heat, it has to get a thorough inspection. And we'll discuss what type of test exactly ladders get put through. The horizontal load test, this is where the weight is placed. If you refer to the illustration where the weight is placed in the center of the ladder, and it's testing the horizontal strength of the beams and rungs, so you can see how much the ladder bows there, and they're rated to a certain weight, and you can refer to your NFPA standards. And if the ladder was to be held to this low weight and it failed, then obviously that ladder is not going to be put back in service. Another type of test, a unique test, is specialized for the roof hooks, where they place a pressured jack against the roof hooks to test the strength of them. So, my favorite slide here, cleaning. That's one of the biggest jobs all firefighters have. We clean the station, we clean the trucks, we clean everything, right? Ladders are no different. Every time that we go to a structure fire and we come back, we have to resurface our ladders, and we're going to clean them. Not cleaning them, leaving grime and dirt on them, can hide major defects of the ladders. They can cover up things. This is also a good time to do your inspection as you clean it. So, we have soft bristle brushes and buckets that we can use with warm soapy water. After cleaning it, there's further maintenance you can do, which includes lubricating the ladder locks and dogs so that they operate smoothly and can prolong their lifespan. You can lubricate the side rails so that the fly section of the ladder can move through smoothly. You can lubricate the pulley so the halyard can move through smoothly, and you can lubricate the roof hook assembly so that the roof hooks operate smoothly. All of this post-cleaning is things that are going to further the life expectancy of the components on the ladder. I kind of get this out of the way a little early, but when you're inspecting and you notice that the roof hooks are dull, after cleaning you can then later maintain this by getting a round file and sharpening that edge back up so that it's sharp and ready to go. I mentioned also when you come across gouges or sharp edges that you can get some sandpaper and you can smooth that out. So you don't necessarily have to take the ladder out of service for these minor things. They can be taken care of in-house. And it's important to note here that if there's small nicks, that we can get some epoxy and we can fill those, okay? Fiberglass ladders, they're different in aluminum ladders that then we can further maintain them with wax. We don't have any fiberglass ladders here, but some other departments do. That is the summary for your inspection, cleaning, maintenance. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
So Volt's not here, right?
Nope. No, he's on a midpoint.